How do you spend $1 billion on baseball only to dismantle a team that was a single pitching collapse away from the World Series? The New York Mets are executing an offseason strategy so contradictory it feels less like a rebuild and more like a high-stakes internal psychological experiment. We have to ask, is David Stearns a mad scientist with a hidden blueprint for Kyle Tucker, or is this flexibility just a fancy word for professional paralysis?
Welcome to 606 Prime News, where we dissect the biggest power plays and the most bewildering decisions in baseball. If you're trying to make sense of the chaos unfolding in Queens, the chaos that resulted in trading away a homegrown, versatile talent like Jeff McNeil for cash considerations and a minor league arm, you are exactly where you need to be. The Mets' strategy, or lack thereof, is causing whiplash.
The central problem, as framed by veteran analyst Steve Phillips, is this. It's a complete overhaul for a team that I don't know needed a complete overhaul. We watched the disassembly, the move from a potential grand slam to a slow, methodical teardown. First, the positional versatility of McNeil, an infielder/outfielder who can cover corner outfield and second base, is jettisoned.
According to the front office line, given by David Stearns, we shouldn't be in a spot to take anything off the table, implying a necessary cleaning of the clubhouse dynamic, because what we did last year wasn't good enough. But what exactly are they taking on? They have already traded off players like Nimmo and Edwin Diaz, one of the best closers in baseball, and are replacing them with players who represent a quantifiable downgrade in immediate offensive output. Yes, they bring in Marcus Semien, a better defensive second baseman, and Jorge Polanco. But as Phillips correctly counters, they are now less offensively at multiple positions. The argument from the optimists is clear. The positional flexibility offered by players like Polanco and Semien, who can rotate between first and second base, is critical.
They're setting up for something much bigger, one co-host insisted, highlighting the war chest available for a massive swing at Kyle Tucker or Cody Bellinger. This is the classic large market fantasy. Clear the decks, wait for the whale. But this is where the argument crashes headfirst into reality. The Mets were 8th in runs scored last season, a respectable offensive output. Their major flaw? They were 18th in ERA. They were close to the World Series, collapsing late only because they lacked quality, dependable pitching depth. Yet, in their quest for flexibility, they have addressed the pitching staff only by making it marginally worse, not better, failing to secure even one substantial starting pitcher. This paralysis, this fear of locking down an aging star, is the fundamental flaw in the Stearns philosophy, especially since he's operating with the biggest budget in the league. Stearns built his reputation in Milwaukee by being ingenious with scraps, constantly disassembling and reassembling without ever leaving any parts on the ground. But that system worked because he didn't have the money to commit long-term. Now, with unlimited funds, he's still acting like a small-market GM, timidly avoiding the long-term contract that might pay a player until they are 34 or 35. I want to build my team with predictability, Phillips stresses, pushing back on the notion that a revolving door of young, unproven talent like Fantos and Batty can sustain a large market playoff contender. This internal conflict, the financial ability to buy predictability versus the institutional fear of commitment, is creating a void in Queens. In stark, beautiful contrast, look at what's happening in Chicago with the White Sox and Munetaka Murakami, or Mooney as he's affectionately been nicknamed. This acquisition represents the smart kind of flexibility the Mets are pretending to seek. Murakami, the 25-year-old Japanese slugger who broke Sadaharu Oh's single-season home run record with 56 dingers, is a high-risk, high-reward bet.
The immediate counter-argument is his alarming swing and miss rate, which would have been the worst in Major League Baseball last year. But here is the specific data point that changes everything. His hard hit rate and average exit velocity rank him 5th among all Major League hitters. When he connects, the ball leaves the park like a laser beam. This move is genius because of the contract structure, a 2-year deal before he returns to free agency at the peak age of 27.
It's a low-pressure, high-motivation incubator. Listen to what the man himself said. I'm more interested in taking on the challenge of defense. I will relentlessly do whatever it takes to get better at defense. This is the ultimate plot twist. The White Sox didn't sign him to be the savior. They signed him to be a student.
General Manager Chris Getz correctly positioned this alongside their developing young talent, emphasizing that Murakami is doing what the entire farm system is doing, learning plate discipline, patience, and growth. He walked 100 times in Japan, proving he understands the zone, despite the strikeouts. This is the kind of calculated short-term value addition, a high upside gamble on pure power motivated by humility that the Mets' hyper-analytical front office should be making, yet they are too busy trading away proven assets like McNeil to chase a hypothetical superstar. The Mets are looking for a silver bullet, while the White Sox found a motivated missile.
The ultimate irony is that David Stearns, the master architect of the flexible, low-commitment roster in Milwaukee, is now in the biggest market and is being outmaneuvered by his former small-market instincts, while the White Sox embrace the very development strategy he mastered. The Mets' offseason has proven that financial capacity means nothing if it is crippled by professional timidity.
They have the money to go get Ranger Suarez or Framber Valdez. They have the money to lock down Tucker, but they are paralyzed by the fear of commitment, a fear that has already cost them valuable, productive players. Will Stearns break his pattern and make the decisive move? Or will the Mets simply watch the season start with an 18th ranked pitching staff and an aggressively flexible but offensively depleted roster?
Let us know in the comments. Do you believe the Mets' pursuit of flexibility will ultimately lead to the big Kyle Tucker signing they need? Or is David Stearns being too timid with the long-term contract? We want to hear your thoughts on whether the White Sox's 2-year bet on Mooney Murakami is smarter than the Mets' roster demolition. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your baseball friends, and subscribe to 606 Prime News for the deepest dives in the game.